Hey Trevor, how's everything going?
Hey, it's going pretty well. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for asking. All right. So how did the exercise go this past week? I know we set it for trying it on Monday. So last week, yeah, we had a little bit of a break.
Yeah, I guess it went all right.
Okay. And did you so tell me a little bit about like how it went. Walk me through.
Um, well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I tried it out and I didn't stick with it.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I didn't really stick with it.
Oh, what happened?
I kind of just got caught up in, the routine and everything, and yeah, didn't stick with
Okay, so that's okay. So how what did you do afterwards?
it. I guess just fell back into what I normally do.
Okay, so you went home?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And do you remember how you felt when you were going about the rest of your day afterwards?
Um, Well, I felt like I failed, I guess.
Okay. All right. So I mean, I like that you did that you did give it a shot. And we got to start somewhere, right? That's really good. Yeah, you try to do something different. I mean, that's a huge deal in and of itself. Just even a little change is good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really hard because I feel like I am, I have my routine and what I want to change things, and I know that I have to put in the work to do that. When I actually start doing that, it's pretty
Right.
hard to stick with, I guess.
Okay. All right. So is there is there something else that you wanted to try? Something else that you were thinking about? Sorry.
No, I'm really kind of at a loss here, I think, because like I feel like I know what I should do, which is just stop getting high. But it's like how I get sick if I don't take anything, and then if I do, I just feel like a failure. And I don't even well, honestly, I don't even get high anymore if I don't get sick. Like, so I really don't. I'm at a loss. I just don't know what to do.
So I'm hearing from you, it's really right now you're kind of at a crossroads because like if you don't take it, you say you get sick, right?
Yeah.
I'm also guessing here that your tolerance has also gone up. So is it still doing the same things that you
No.
wanted to do?
No, I don't feel any euphoria. There's no high. There's no nothing. It's just I'm either sick or I'm not sick. And I mean, I'm taking so much at this point that I'm pretty much just falling asleep like after I take it. So there's
Okay.
yeah, no real enjoyment in even taking them anymore. It's just I'm doing it so that I'm not getting sick.
All right. All right. Well, I'm really sorry to hear that. Like that sounds like it's really difficult. I can't even imagine that.
Yeah.
All right. So today I wanted to also like not only check in, but just talk about like some future steps with you. So with your last goal, I know we talked about two last time. There was one short term, like which is that you wanted to talk about, like, or that you wanted to stop feeling sick. And then the second one, that you wanted to, your long term is to find some work, and you wanted to also just eventually have like a long-term career, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So with the first one, like I know we scratched a little bit on the surface with just like trying the exercise that we did like about 2 weeks ago. So I want to try to stop being sick. So let's talk about, have you ever thought about like what you're doing or what you're feeling right before you start to use?
Well, I guess it depends on how long it's been. Usually it's just a little bit of anxiety because I don't really go too long without, you know, taking some more. But if I do go even like a few hours or like an hour or two after, so I guess realistically, like I get like 4 hours out of getting high, and then for the most part of that, I'm pretty much just asleep. And then when I get up, it's like, all right, now I can ride off that halfway for a little bit. I start getting anxious, like, oh, I'm gonna get sick again, so I gotta go get high again, right? So I guess it's pretty much mostly anxiety that forces me to, not forces me, but makes me want to get high because the anxiety about getting sick. I never really go long enough to like feel that, but I know that I've been using long enough that I had enough dose that inevitably gonna happen.
Okay, so all right. So what we're beginning to talk about is like how to find out what these things are called triggers, right? So like the antecedent that happens like right before you start to use. So like sometimes it could be like situation based, or like for example, like for maybe like a lot of people, like the holidays or like having to see their family, or social situations like, you know, going to like a concert or having to give a presentation at work or something like that. So those are like, they're pretty common triggers for some people. And then, you know, because it makes them anxious, or, you know, they feel like overwhelmed and it starts to really get to them, then they're more likely to want to use, and they do so.
Yeah.
So and anxiety is the big one that I'm hearing from you. Are there any other, like, there might be like people or other situations or places?
I mean, it's always people, places, and things, right? It's like who I'm around, it's impacted. But I mean, on the anxiety, yeah, I mean, like anxiety isn't just with like getting sick. Sometimes I get anxiety if I'm gonna see my family, or if I'm gonna, it's just when I get high, like I am able to go out and do stuff. It's just a lot more comfortable.
Okay. All right. So let's see. I want to be able to help you find these triggers as well, right? Just to really get like a pinpoint on it. So what do you think about you can either do it on your phone or like paper, a notepad or anything like that, but I want you to be able to like at least keep a log of the time that you're starting to feel like anxious about something. So list that down, so that would be the antecedent. And then you can also you can list your behavior. So like what happens after that, right? Like what behavior that you start doing, whether it's using or you're pacing or you're going out to like meet a friend that you know has it, like an accomplice or a friend or something that has the drugs or anything like that. So that would go under your behaviors. And then the C, so I'm covering something called an ABC chart. So the C is the consequence. And I know the consequence sounds really like negative, like consequence just means like what happens after you engage in the behavior. So like whatever happened in column B, whether, like the consequences, I wanted to go meet up with this friend and then somebody called me and then I ended up staying home. So that would be the consequence, right? Or it could be, well, I got really anxious and I didn't know what else to do. So I met up with a friend and they were the easiest option for me right at that moment. So like it can be good or bad, right? It's just whatever happens after what you put down in the behavior section. So that's what the ABC chart is.
So I do this when?
So when you start like feeling a trigger, ideally, right? So like if something happens or if something is like about to happen where like you're beginning to feel anxious, I want you to really track those down and start like tracking like the time and then also what happened before then.
Okay. So so I'm feeling anxious and I write down what's happening like around me.
Yes.
Okay.
So like, for example, like if I was to do one on myself, right? And I have a problem with smoking cigarettes. And so like the antecedent or the column A, it would be, like I have to go to work today and I don't want to go to work today because I'm going to run into my boss and she's probably going to like want to have a meeting with me for over an hour and she's going to talk about nothing and it's really stressful for me because I don't want to have that meeting. So that's the antecedent. And then the behavior, it would be I went to go I went outside to smoke, or I went to the 7-Eleven to go buy a cigarette, and then I smoked during my lunch break. And then the consequence would be that, I smoked a cigarette and then I kept going. So like even though I stayed at work, I didn't really get anything else done. And I ended up smoking at work, which I don't do.
All right. So let
Yeah.
me practice. So I wake up and I'm feeling sore and like I'm gonna be sick, like like dope sick. And
Right.
so then I go and get more pills and then I get high, right?
Right.
Okay.
So, and then anything else like with the consequence, it is also a really good place to put how you're feeling. Like if you feel fine, you went to sleep, or you felt like angry at yourself, or like you got into an argument with somebody because of it, or something. Like you can like exactly like everything that happened right afterwards. Mhm.
Yeah, I can try that. I mean, I usually have my phone on me, so I can definitely try that. I'll just write it down in the notes.
Yeah. So like I know like I was I apologize. I made it sound kind of like long when I was like trying to do the example, but with time it does get easier. Like you're gonna start to see like the kinds of things, emotions, people, places, situations that would trigger you that would like because it's the point is like you're going to start to see like where it starts to come from, like why you want to use.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely try.
Okay. All right. So that's good. And then, so for that, like, about how many of those can you do? Because like you don't have to do one like basically like every time. So like I'm talking about like the frequency. So like maybe twice a week, or if you're comfortable starting with every day, we could also do that every day.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like I said before, I usually feel pretty good right after we talk for like a day or two, like pretty motivated to do this stuff, and then I just kind of fall off on it. So I would like to tell you that I'm gonna do this every day, but in reality, I'm not sure. Like I'm gonna try, you know,
Right.
and I'm gonna hold myself accountable for all this and really write it down and try and figure it out. So I guess I'll tell you that I'd like to do it every day, every time. I mean, right now at this point, I'm probably getting high like 4 times a day. So if that's the antecedent for
Mhm.
it, then I guess it would be like 4 times a day. I would be writing stuff down. I guess that's probably cool. I mean, I guess it would slow me down too, instead of just feeling a certain way and then going and acting on it. I would have some time where I'm sitting down and actually thinking about what it is that's going on. So yeah,
Okay,
I think that would be cool.
great. Okay, so with that, so I know now that you're telling me that you do use like quite a bit during the day. So when you can keep up with it, but like at least let's set the baseline for at least once a day. So one chart from each day. So every day of the week.
Okay.
Yeah. So that even if you miss, right? Like people have bad days too. And sometimes it's really hard to remember to do something when we're in the midst of something big, right? So at least once so that we'd be able to like collect where these patterns are coming from, and then we can work from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but more if you can do them, and then not to worry if you got one done. One is perfect.
Okay. Yeah, I'll try that.
Okay. And then the other item that I wanted to introduce to you. So within these past couple sessions, I noticed that it's your schedule has been like kind of how do I put this? So right now, like your routine, you have a routine, right? But it's the kind of routine that like do you want to see changes in?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't want to be doing this forever. I can't do this forever. I'm gonna die with my apartment, or you know, uh, some.
Okay. All right. So just like before, like when we were talking about just small steps, right? Like go somewhere else, like to walk in the opposite direction of where you would be able to pick up or use and get something else for food, right? They're really, really small changes, and I'm sorry about my dog. But so those it would be kind of like this. So I'm gonna talk to you about scheduling, right? So just like the way that you schedule for a doctor's appointment. I'll be right back. So the way that you would schedule for like a doctor's appointment and the way that we schedule together now, you would do that except for your whole day. So instead of like the monthly or weekly appointments, like you would actually make sure that you know, every like hour or so you're slotted down for something. You're scheduled. Whether, it can be anything minute. You could go out to the park, you can do some laundry, you could read a book, watch some TV, write stuff down. And then there's some people that also, like regular, like not regular, but like you'll see like a lot of students, for example, like this is mine, it's a planner. Some people will put their schedules down electronically, and then there's some people that write it down, right? So there's like days of the week, and then you just write down what you have due and what you're gonna do that day.
Mm.
So that's something seeing from you to like see, try to map out your day, like write down, like, okay, so for example, 8 o'clock, I wake up, 8:10, I get out of bed. And then, like maybe, just saying like 9 o'clock, you probably start like looking for breakfast, you start getting hungry. And then so 9:05, you go to the fridge, take out some food, you start to cook, and then by let's say 9:10, you're eating. And then you clean up. And then like so basically you're writing down like all these steps that you do in a day.
Okay.
So one, so you see where your time is going, and then two, it's also gonna make it very difficult for you to go and step outside of that schedule to do something else to use.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm definitely gonna write Get High in that book because that's not something that I can just stop doing. But
Yeah.
I do like the idea of, I think it'll help me hold myself accountable and definitely make um, the times when I could be doing something to help myself a little bit more like on my mind.
All right, so, okay. All right, so the schedule would be a little bit difficult for you to do at this time, right?
I think I could do it. It's just like I've always been honest with you, you know. So um, I don't think that the schedule is going to stop me from getting high. I think I would just, write in that I'm going to get high at 10 o'clock.
Okay, I mean, so it works off like similarly to the way that the ABC charts would go. So like, of course, your opioid use is something that it's considered an illness, like I wouldn't expect you to get better like right away and say that, oh, I stopped using and stuff, right? It wouldn't be it's not realistic to do that. So ideally, when you start seeing like what you're doing with your day, I also want you to be able to like track how much time goes into your activities. So not just using, but like how much time do you spend like taking care of any pets or seeing family, seeing friends, going to work, commuting, um, hygiene, and then also fun stuff like shopping, uh, going on road trips or anything like that, listening to music, watching TV. So, it's not only just for people that have like substance use problems. Like it's also just you just want to see like how you're actually spending your day and where it's going. So, even if you did put that down in the schedule, right? That's okay. Like if you said, like I think I'm definitely gonna go to like that street where I know that I'm gonna like see somebody that I know that has it and we're gonna hang out together. Okay. And then I also want to see what you do after that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't really know why I get high. I mean, now I know why I get high because I'm trying not to be sick. But like, I don't know. There's got to be something, you know, some reason. I think the ABC thing will help with that though, because like I really just don't even know why.
Right. Okay. And then so with the ABC chart, so like we can circle back to that. The ABC chart, it is really cool to like as soon as you start getting to, you start getting in the habit of doing them. For one, this is something that you're gonna be able to look back at, right? That it's like a physical, tangible record that you have. Like from day one, from when you started doing this until like it gets easier and you've been doing it for a while. So you're gonna be able to see like, hey, these are things that they're really things that bother me, they're things that stress me out. And it's like, I don't, there are gonna be times that like I don't use, right? Like I don't use if I don't know, like with a cousin's daughter, I don't use when I'm with like my niece or my dog or whenever I go see my boss or something like that. I don't use. So with that, it is really interesting to see because like you're beginning to see like where, like how certain events and people like affect you. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think because like I said, I just really don't even know why, what caused all this. And like I can remember kind of when I first started using it. I guess I wasn't really in a good place, but it's like, is that how I'm always gonna be? Or it's like how I am now, just a product of what I was before. And
Okay. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that. Like, have you ever sat down and you told somebody, like, or even if it was yourself, right? If it wasn't me, have you told somebody else or yourself, like, why? Like, how did this happen?
no, honestly, I don't even really know. I mean, um, I wasn't really too happy at the time, but I also didn't have like a crazy, like traumatic, abusive childhood or anything, like that typical story. So I don't know.
Okay. Well, I think that would, all right. So how do you feel about, there is something, I know this is like quite a bit of writing. So part of cognitive behavior therapy interventions and dialectical behavior therapy directions is or DBT. It involves quite a bit of self-reflection. Sometimes it comes in the form of homework. So there is this one where it is called an impact statement. So like at least in one page, would you be able to write about like not even like why it happened, but like what happened? Like, would you be able to write about what happened the first time you used? Like the situation surrounding it?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so what are your feelings on that? Like, just what do you think would be able, like, you'd be able to feel about just writing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with writing. It's just like I know uh, kind of how I got into all of it, but it's just like, why did it take off? Why did it become this big of a problem? It's like, this is all I do. I got fired. I'm about to lose my apartment. Like, this isn't the life that I want. So yeah, I guess writing that down might help with maybe some context.
Okay.
I mean, look back and
I
try.
mean, I can definitely email you a couple of documents just so you can see like maybe a format or a template. By all means, it serves as like an example, but you don't have to follow it exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. And if it ends up being longer than one page, that's okay. Yeah. So like everything that you can remember about like what was happening around the first, like surrounding the first time occurrence that you were using. Yeah, let's give that a try.
Cool, yeah. No, I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. And I can do the ABC thing. The schedule thing, I feel kind of like, I don't know, I feel kind of bad because, like, if I'm gonna be honest about the schedule, right, I'm gonna write down that I'm getting high. If I'm not honest, then I think I'm like wasting my time here, and I want to like make changes here, so I don't want to waste my time. But I'm really struggling with being honest on that schedule.
Okay, so I mean, we can always put like a bookmark in that. We might be able to just come back to that later, but it is really good to hear your thoughts. And I always appreciate your honesty.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind doing it, but I just feel bad, like for you, like, are you gonna judge me, you know, if I fill it out honestly and everything?
Not at all. Because I I would really like to see what does happen in your day to day. I would like to see that. It would be interesting. Not at all. Like, I mean, if that's who's to say that, you know, what one person does with their time is any less or better than what somebody else does with their time, right? Right. I'm just trying to make it.
Yeah, I can definitely try that.
Okay. Yeah. And then, okay, so we did cover like some, like a couple of different homework assignments. Like they have their roots in CBT, so the cognitive behavior therapy, and then we would review them in session.
Okay,
Yeah.
so like I do them, and then next week we talk about it.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. And then also like I'm mindful that, you know, we have lives outside of session, but it's definitely like it's okay when like something happens and you're not able to do them, or something else happens and you want to talk about that instead. I'm always open to adjusting the session for that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I usually ride some momentum, a little bit of feeling like this that I'm making progress like the day or two after we talk. So at least those days I'm gonna try and, you know, really do this stuff. So
Okay. All right. All right. So with that, and we can transition over to your long-term goals. So I wanted to ask, like with the job prospects, we touched a little bit on what you potentially would like to do or the things that you find interesting. Between our last session and now, what's been happening with that?
so I actually talked to the manager at the Wawa because I'm there all the time. I know, and he said that they're hiring, but they do a drug screen, so I don't think that I would be able to get a job there.
Okay, all right. So with that, um, and then I know, so like a little bit of review from last session, you were also telling me about wanting to maybe find out some more information about like the medication that would help you stop.
Yeah, I have a buddy who started on methadone.
Okay,
He says that it helps him. The
how's he
way he
doing?
the way he described it was that it's like kind of a replacement, I guess.
Okay, so well, that's really cool. Like that's a good way to find out about the methadone. So I did a little bit of research, like by all means, I'm also not a PCP, so like a primary care physician, which we talked about a little bit last session as well. Ideally, we would be working either with the primary care physician or with the psychiatrist. Because the use of methadone and naltrexone and also suboxone, so those are like three similarly classed drugs that would help stop the, not even like the side effects. So like even if you use, it would block it would block like some of the receptors in your brain that uh basically keep you from like experiencing the effects of the high. So like even if you did, right? So like if you were using like the opiates and drugs, or alcohol, because some of them also work with alcohol addiction as well. Um, Instead of getting like drunk or high or anything like that, or like feeling like really euphoric, nothing happens.
Okay.
Yeah. So you also don't feel like the coming down part of it either. So like
Yeah,
the withdrawals and the
that's what
shakes
he
and
said.
everything.
He said he never went through withdrawal.
Right. And because, so like I did want to make you aware, like because like the reason why I'd like to mention like a couple of disclaimers, like and wanting to work with like the PCP and the psychiatrist, the that's typically monitored. So like whenever you go and use those, you have to go to like a clinic. So a nurse like administers the which one of those three that the psychiatrist would give you, and then they make you stay in there for like about 15 minutes to make sure that you're okay before you can leave the clinic. And it's just like that's one of the appointments that you would have to go to on a regular basis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, I haven't missed one with you, and now I have a schedule. So
Yeah. So that's something that like we can collaborate together with your doctors, right? Your care staff. So the psychiatrist and the PCP, and just like make sure that they're watching and monitoring you. Like I know it sounds really awkward, but it's just something they have to do just because uh the first couple times that you're using it, they want to make sure that it's not going to harm you.
okay.
But the side effects of the naltrexone, suboxone, and methadone, they're very rare. But just in case, because you never know, they want to monitor the whole time that you're using that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, because I remember that you shared a concern about entering rehab, right? So this isn't that, because like these medications, they can be administered on the outpatient basis. So like just coming to a clinic and then you'd be able to return home or go back to work or something like that and carry on with the rest of your day. You'll be okay.
Yeah, because he has a job and he's on the methadone. I think that the clinic talks to him, his employer. They talk to his boss, and they just tell him that he's on methadone. And then as long as he doesn't test positive for like anything else, then they let him work.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, that would be really cool. So we can definitely discuss this. I'll go ahead and try to, well, not try to, but I'll get in touch with admin and get you a referral to the psychiatrist. And then also, they are going to want to know about your progress finding a PCP. So has that been going well with you?
No, I haven't even started.
Okay, so no worries. The best thing is that most of the time you only have to see your primary care physician once a year.
Yeah.
And then you're okay. Yeah. Once a year, unless there's like problems or anything like that, like there's other health concerns, and then you'll be okay.
Okay.
It's just for a checkup, especially because I remember you haven't gone in a while, so it'll be good to find out where you're at.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So did you have any questions? I know like today was like pretty action packed in terms of planning and homework.
No, I got the ABC thing where I see what's happening, what I do, and then what happened as a result. Got that, the schedule, and then there was one more.
The impact statement. So at
Right,
least one page surrounding the first time that you used, right? And not even why it happened, just like what happened at that time when you used for the first time.
all right, yeah, I'll do that when we get off, because I feel like I can do that probably.
Okay. All right. And then so just to summarize and cover, like so today we introduced talking about some tenets of CBT, right? So cognitive behavior therapy, and which tends to, but not typically, introduces the concept of homework. So whenever people have to either like track their moods or write statements about like what happened, like so sometimes there's journaling. In this case, it's the ABC chart, the impact statement, and then as much as of it as you can do for right now, the schedule. So these are all written materials. Either you can write it like on whichever electronic device that you have or on a notebook, right? So with that, and then we'd also be able to collect them all at the end of the week, because like normally we see each other on Sunday or on the weekend. So we'd be able to process these and then also talk about like what happened during the week. And then the end goal of this is to be able to identify your triggers, like what drives you to or increases the likelihood of you using for that day or in that particular situation. And then we can work from there.
Okay.
All right. And then also the second part was with like the medication, because like that, I applaud you. That is really, really good that your friend is able to share his experiences with you. That's really good. So with that, definitely just because like the limits of counseling, like we can't prescribe. So I do have to defer to the primary care physician and the psychiatrist, but they'd be able to, like, once we make some contact with them and we get you a referral, they'd be able to assess you and then make sure that like you're physically safe and that you don't have any other like potential health risks that could like interfere with using that, which they'd be able to explain a little bit more like in depth. But yeah, this is a good place to start.
Yeah, I think I can do this stuff, yeah.
All right. Okay, so we can plan to see each other, like, I will be going out of town, but as always, I am available via email, so just let me know if you have any questions. And then I'm also going to be sending you like some of the templates and examples of the ABC charts.
All right,
And some prompts too, just to help.
yeah, thank you.
Of course. All right. Well, have a good week, Trevor, and I'll see you soon, okay?
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Bye.